Leaders come from society. Leaders come from society, right? So they come from everywhere. We can look in this room, look at all of you who are sitting up here, and even if we go into the floor, all our backgrounds are varied. So is the question or the issue around the leaders, or is the issue around the societies that we're creating that actually bear fruit to those leaders? If I could put that question to you, how do we begin sort of making sense of that dynamic? Because otherwise, again, we'll be talking in half a decade, half a century, a century.
Thank you very much. My name is William Ruto, just for the record.
And I shall apologize.
Let me pick up from where President Kagame left. And he couldn't have put it better by saying that the issue is not so much what the problem is or what the solutions are. The issue is we know the problem, and we have a good account of what the solution could possibly be. Standing between the problem and the solution is a critical entity called leaders. People who need to bridge, to create a bridge between the problem and where we want to go. The present and the Africa that we want. Leaders. I will squarely say that those of us who have been given or have been entrusted with the responsibility to lead must match what we say with what we do. That is what will make the difference. Let me give you a very practical example. The last elections in Kenya, the president and myself went on a slogan, kusema na kutenda, meaning to walk the talk or to match what we say with what we do. That is what Kenyans bought into. And therefore, for us as a continent, and I have listened carefully to very eminent persons who've spoken here, we have what it takes. We know where we want to go. We know how to get there. Standing between us and where we want to go is decisive, bold, pragmatic decisions that will take leaders to make. Even to move society, assuming that society is part of our challenge, it will take leaders to inspire society, to make sure society sees what the future holds for all of us. And therefore, I am a very proud African, and I am confident. And looking around, and I have been, in the last 1 year or so, I have been to various meetings around this continent. I see a lot of prepared African leaders. People who are prepared to make the critical decisions that will take us to the Africa we want. Let me give you an example. In the last 1 year, as East Africans, we have made decisions that has taken 50 years for them to be made. In the last 1 year, we have made a decision, for example, that we must bring down the barriers. And instead of having borders that act as roadblocks, we should get borders that act as bridges. That is why I didn't need a passport to come from Kenya to Rwanda. I just needed my identification card. I mean, it would have been very difficult to make that decision in the face of all the challenges we have about security and all the rest of it. But on the balance of issues, the good that comes with eliminating the barriers that exist currently as borders far supersedes the negatives that would accompany that decision. That is why the leaders of East Africa made that decision. Let me give you another example. In the last 1 year, jointly with another 5 countries in the East African region, Rwanda included, we have launched the first ever standard gauge railway out of Mombasa to Kampala, to Kigali, to South Sudan. It was done last week. It has taken us 100 years. The railway we are using was built not last century. It was built the century before. Right? And yet, it is absolutely clear to all of us that by having a standard gauge railway, we can reduce the cost of transport by anything up to 70% and make the products that we produce much more competitive, open up markets for our products, and make sure that we create more integration, create more jobs, and create a prosperous region. That is the kind of decisions that need to be made so that we can take this country, this continent and this region to the next level. And I am confident, very confident, as a young leader in this continent, that we are going to make those decisions.
Deputy President Ruto, thank you very much. Okay.
Now, President William Ruto is in the United States for a 4-day official visit. The president, this time round, decided to fly a business jet that KTN has since established is a Boeing business jet. The aircraft service is run by a United Arab Emirates company, Royal Jet Group, of course, a premium private aviation company based in Abu Dhabi. It is a 7-year-old Boeing 737-700, one of the 8 owned by the company founded in 2003. Emmanuel To is here with the details of this aircraft that will cost the taxpayer an upward of 200 million shillings, just to take and bring back the president and his team.
As high-ranking state officials saw him off at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport Sunday night, ready for the historic trip to the United States of America, a bird never before publicly seen was spotted on the airside, all white with 2 strips running across the fuselage. This was his choice for transporting this journey. When the pictures and videos hit the public space, a debate was ignited. The head of state's usual mode of transport out of the country is a presidential jet, a 30-year-old Fokker 70 extended range christened Harambe 1 with a carrying capacity of 26 passengers, but these aircraft can only fly 5 hours non-stop. He opted for a charter Boeing 737-700 business jet from the Abu Dhabi-based Royal Jet Group, a premium private aviation company. A quotation requested and sent to the Standard Group from the operator puts the cost of hiring a similar state-of-the-art aircraft at a total cost of $748,600, which translates to about 98 million shillings one way for a 34-seater plane. A return journey will cost another 98 million shillings. Details show the plane could cost more than 2 million shillings per hour, and these will vary depending on routing, scheduling, number of passengers, year of manufacture, among other details. Then there is the takeoff tax, landing tax, and parking. In addition to the amount spent getting the aircraft from Abu Dhabi to Nairobi and back to the United Arab Emirates, a near 5-hour journey on both legs could each cost anywhere between 8 million shillings and 10 million shillings. On the first leg, the jet left Abu Dhabi at 9:03 a.m. on Saturday, landing at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport almost 4 hours later. It spent a day on the ground ahead of Ruto's trip. He will depart at 9:48 p.m. Sunday and landed at Santiago de Compostela in Spain yesterday at 5:30 a.m. local time. 8 hours and 42 minutes later, ostensibly to refuel. These aircraft, a Boeing 737-700, has a flying range of 10 hours non-stop. The plane then left Spain for Atlanta, Georgia, a journey of 8 hours and 42 minutes before landing at the Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. Fitted with 10 auxiliary tanks, the ultra-modern aircraft went into commercial use about 9 years ago. This particular one, used by President Ruto and his team, is configured for day travel at 34 seats, 8 of them VIP, 8 business and 18 standard, and 5 crew members. It also has an executive bedroom. This extravagant travel comes as the government promised to implement austerity measures to reduce the weight on the taxpayer. The government is also planning to acquire a new state-of-the-art jet which will replace the KAF 308, which was bought in 1995 by retired President the late Daniel Arap Moi.
Presidential jet, you remember, was purchased in the early 80s or late 80s by former President Daniel Arap Moi. And probably this offers that opportunity now to reconsider all this equipment, be it aircraft and other military equipment, Honorable Speaker, towards modernizing them.
It is not the first time President William Ruto is showing his taste for expensive things. In 2013, he was under fire for hiring a private jet for a 5-day shuttle diplomacy over the International Criminal Court in 2013. A business trip for the team, assuming all the 34 seats were occupied, would have cost the government about 40 million shillings on commercial jet return, 160 million shillings less. Emmanuel Toh, KT News, Nairobi.